Vledic, thank you very, very much for joining me this fine Thursday evening.
Here's adventures. Welcome to the Drunken Dragon. And thank you,
We are
Terror, for
here.
having me.
Absolutely no problem at all. So you're being cool drinking out of a horn, and I've got a big mug of tea here. So I'm the really uncool one in this scenario just here. But
Nice.
yeah, I sent you over a few questions a couple of days ago because I wanted you to kind of have a little think about some of the questions that I sent, because some of them are quite deep and a little bit more kind of invasive into your private life. Not private life, but you as a person. So I wanted to start the ball kind of rolling with, you haven't got an accent from the Netherlands, which means you're not from the Netherlands, right? So could you tell us a little bit more about kind of your journey and where you've come from, where you are now? I mean, I understand you're from North America and now residing in the Netherlands. So how did you get there?
Yeah, indeed. I'm originally from Mexico, and I've been living in the Netherlands for 5 years now, a bit more than 5 years now. And well, basically, my professional background is on backend engineering, software engineering. So it was my expertise on those systems, and specifically on something called functional programming, which is actually one of the specialties of IOHK, that brought me here to the Netherlands. In here, I've been working as a private consultor uh, up on until now, of course.
Yeah, of
Now I'm
course.
doing
Yeah.
something way better, I will say.
Yeah, well, like you said, you before we kind of went live, I said to you like, how you been today, and you said, you know what, I'm really busy. I've got two jobs going on at the same time. So how's that been for you, kind of juggling the blow up of Drunken Dragons with your private work?
Well, yeah, definitely. It's been a lot of fun. That's the first thing I would like to say,
Yeah,
because it has been fun, worthy, epic. You know.
yeah,
But yeah, also it's also has been a bit of a struggle because yeah, being here in the Netherlands, uh, I need a sponsorship to be here,
yeah,
which means that I cannot still just stop doing my last business. I need to change my type of visa and work permit, etc., and
yeah,
residence permit, and that's taking some time. But meanwhile, so meanwhile, I'll have to like deal with these two like full-time jobs.
yeah,
Um, well, that I mean that's fine. It's been an adventure, to be honest. I
yes.
think it's not strange for me to be working 60, 80, or 100 hours per week.
Mass mental.
Uh,
I couldn't do that.
I Before coming here, I actually um, were I have a little bit of a story with start doing startups.
Yeah.
So actually, the reason why I came to the Netherlands was because I spent all my money on another startup related to education.
Okay.
Uh, so. An opportunity came here and was like, you know what, I need to like save up some money again to do my next venture.
Yeah, yeah,
And well, but and then this happened, right? After 5 years and some other attempts, I finally found something which really made magic, because I think this project, Drunken Dragon Games, it really merges everything that I'm in love with in life.
yeah,
It's all of my other projects had one or two things that I really liked, but this one specifically, it's literally everything that
yeah.
I think makes me who I am.
Makes
So
you as a
it's this
person.
merge between, uh, well, first of all, technology. So I'm a technologist. So I'm a backend engineer. I'm a programmer. I'm also in. I really love mathematics. So blockchain, and specifically Cardano, is just perfect for that. And then the project is all my passion for fantasy, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And my passion for, I think, just people. I
Yeah,
consider myself someone that gains energy from being social, from being here with you speaking,
Yeah.
from creating a place for people to share share something. You know,
Yeah.
before I've had some experiences on creating communities. Here in Amsterdam, I used to had the um, Amsterdam Functional Programming Academy, which I gave functional programming workshops for free, and I
Yeah.
was doing this weekly, and it was a lot of fun. And it was I gained so much energy from interacting with
Yeah.
people, teaching them, and them having a place to share also passion for functional programming, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but now here with the Drunken Dragon, it's then again it's just even better because it's really my deep passion for fantasy, right? Like I'm a big fan of the Lord of the Rings, Warcraft, Ultimo
Mhm.
Line, everything that Blizzard did. Um,
That
so
actually
it's
that actually answers
yeah.
one of my other questions, because one of my other questions for yourself was, where did the inspiration for this project come from, and what games did you play growing up that kind of led you to here? So, like you say, Warcraft, Lord of the Rings. What other sort of titles did you play that encouraged you to be here?
Well, I mean, I'm a big gamer, right? So I have a lot of games under my sleeve. So. But I would say, like, from shooters, fantasy to sci-fi, real-time strategy, everything really. But I think that the genre that really made me passionate about video games deeply was the MMORPG genre.
Yeah, definitely.
Starting with Ultima Online and then Guild Wars, World of Warcraft. Um, I also played a lot of Arcade, for example.
Okay, yeah, I remember
Uh,
that. Yeah, yeah,
so and then again, MMORPGs are that merge between immersion in a deep fantasy universe with community.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
Back then, I used to have like a group of friends in real life where we played League of Legends and Dota and a lot of World of Warcraft together. And I was a guild master back then.
Yeah, nice.
Uh, and remember in Wrath of the Lich King, we were
Yeah.
some of the first to uh, complete Naxxramas in
Oh, nice. Yeah, that was the best
yeah.
era, right? Lich King was in my opinion, the best era of World of Warcraft. A good time in my life, and the Lich King raid and the whole storyline and the build up to fighting the Lich King was like epic, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think Wrath of the Lich King was definitely one of the best, probably compared with just Vanilla, because I think Vanilla. What was awesome about Vanilla was that I knew nothing. It's like
Yeah, no one did,
everything
right?
seemed like endless, or I was discovering everything
Mm,
anew, and just is this notion of unknown
yeah.
and of discovery. It's really, I don't know. It's just so epic. I love
I
it.
remember, I remember like way back I played EverQuest, and I think we spoke briefly about it in DM, but it wasn't a case that you could kind of log into the game and know what you're doing. If you wanted to find anything out, you have to actually go into the internet and search for it, like mmorpg.com, alakazam.com. You didn't get these add-ons like in Warcraft now, which literally sends you to where the quests were. You had to go into the internet and look at gamefacts.com and try and find out where these things were that you wanted. And you actually had to spend time and effort, and then you could relay that information on to your friends, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think that I, I mean I think through the transformation of World of Warcraft, there has been a lot of expansions and the game has transformed a lot. Uh, I think I discovered what games really what is that makes games really fun.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I think well, it can be several things, but for me personally is this mixture between immersion and challenge, right, and exploration. So definitely for me, World of Warcraft really started dying once everything started being very Kerber, so like
Yeah, really
like
easy.
really easy, no challenge. There was no need for social interaction.
Yeah.
I mean that was really really bad, right? So
Well, yeah.
um, I think there's a lot of these learnings of that I want us to put into the game, into Drunken Dragon Instant Quest.
Yeah.
Uh, bring back the notion of challenge of
Risk
having.
versus reward, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's the reward. It's a notion of value, right? And value, it's a measurement which is completely um,
It's
relative.
personal. Yeah, yeah. It's to
Yeah,
yourself. Yeah, yeah.
it's relative, right? There's there's always like this relationship between it's actually also something economic. There's always a relationship between demand and offer. Uh, but I think that the harder it is to achieve something compared to someone else,
Yeah, yeah.
then the bigger the achievement it is to obtain it, right?
Yeah, cool.
So
Yeah, I
so
understand.
this is the type of core feeling that I would like us to introduce into Drunken Dragon Instant Quest.
Yeah, I think when you mentioned about the sort of like the reward and stuff, I think going back to playing WoW Classic, which I think what 3 years ago it came back out, and just getting into the game and then standing there waiting behind 100 people in front of you to hand in the same quest, and forming conversations with these people that you've never met before in say, just like chatting to them because you're all there for the same reason to get the same quest item, but you're being patient and you're communicating, you're chatting, and you're meeting people. That kind of encapsulates that whole feeling of the community that we've got kind of going on here, right? And everyone seems to be getting on really well. There's no drama in the Discord. Everyone's chatting, everyone's having fun, everyone's helping each other. I think it's good that we've kind of assembled a group of like-minded people, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think it's all about that, right? It's all about sharing. Uh, then again, when you're creating a company or an organization or just gathering people uh, together, you need to. There must be a reason for these people to be together, right?
Yeah,
There needs to be a strong why. And I think that for Drunken Dragon games, this is what I'm starting to try to communicate. The reason why we're together is to share this passion for fantasy. Uh, so so I think if if in Discord people are sharing not just about Drunken Dragon games, but um, about movies, about the Lord of the Rings, about other games,
yeah,
role playing, impromptu stuff
yeah,
like this. I think I mean I'm already achieving what
yeah.
the reason why I wanted to create this, right?
Well, everyone's talking about maidens at the moment. That's the hot topic, right? That's the talk of the Discord channel. I don't know who's to blame. That I think a lot of people are to blame for that chat at the moment. But again, it's interesting to see how that kind of develops and people talk to each other in the Discord. It's quite interesting. Um, Another question that I did have for you was compared to Ferris, you're very out there. People know you. You've got your own Twitter. You do your tweets. You're kind of the face of the brand. But Ferris is someone who everyone seems to really respect, really admire. His artwork's incredible. How did you meet him? What's the relationship between you guys?
So actually, we met to create this. So
Okay.
I started this whole adventure alone. As many adventure starts like this.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's funny because really creating this, it's really feeling like a movie. Like in a movie, a lot of times the protagonist and me feeling the protagonist since it's my life, whatever. But
Yeah,
you start the adventure alone, right?
yeah.
And the adventure starts feeling amazing and epic because of the people that you meet in the process and
Yeah.
in the road, right? So the first person to really that really joined through this adventure was Ferras once. Well, first, basically, like a lot of people do not know, but the project started like 8 months or 10 months ago.
Okay.
So it's really started with the D&D pool, so the Drunken Dragon pool, and with the idea of giving NFTs as rewards and creating a game around it. I started creating and drawing the first pixel tiles. So up to pixel tile number 50, it's all my art.
Oh, okay.
But then, of course, that was struggling a bit on growth and on catching people's attention. There was some people saying like, "Oh yeah, that's a really good idea," blah blah. I like the concept, etc. But it really didn't pick, right? So there was a moment in which I, always trying to make a strategy and say like, okay, how are we gonna uh, break it? How are we gonna really gain the support
Yeah.
that we need
Push it to the
to
next
create?
level. Get noticed, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So then I was like, okay, we need to capitalize on some of the hype that is going on, which was, NFTs in its traditional form, or traditional. It's it's still really new, but what I mean is, this 10,000 cookie cutter
Yeah, yeah,
thing. Um, because as you can see, the pixel tiles, they're not really the cookie cutter concept of 10,000
no, yeah,
NFTs, unique rarities, blah blah.
mm,
They're like they're their own concept that I was creating. So I came out with the idea of saying, okay, I'm gonna capitalize on the NFTs on their current form. Uh, and after talking with some people, I started discovering, hey, actually, like this cookie cutter, it's actually a lot of fun, right? It's actually really, really interesting.
yeah,
It's a lot more than I thought it would be. So I started looking for some artists to do this with me because I thought that, well, my pixel art was okay, but I really wanted to start to create a reputation for quality.
yeah, cool.
So for me, it was like really important in that moment that, and since the beginning, really, that if I wanted to do something, I really wanted it to do it with like high quality. So I started searching for an artist, and a really good friend of mine, which is a video game composer. Actually, she's a musician, and
Okay.
she's actually gonna do the music later
Oh,
on.
nice.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and she's very talented. She lives in Seattle, and
Oh, cool.
she's really really talented. Um, but she helped me. She has like a network of game developers, etc.
Yeah,
So through there, I met Ferraz, and I think we clicked really fast.
yeah,
We spent one night just speaking, and he's also uh, very in deep love with fantasy, but
yeah,
also in the whole process of game development.
yeah,
He's an artist, but he really thinks that the ultimate form of art can be video games,
yeah,
because it's a because according to him it's like this ultimate immersion experience into like the stories and the world as an art form, right?
yeah.
So I think that was like a really great click, and I told him, "Hey, we're gonna create this. What do you think?" And he was in need of a geek because
Mhm.
he's creating his own game.
Everyone needs a
But
geek in their life.
yeah, so basically he has spent all of his money for the on developers. So he was like, I mean, he's also like a big adventurer. Let me say that
Yeah,
because. He has taken a lot of risks to create his own a video game studio, and his current game is a really cool concept. Um, so he needed some extra money to support himself while he was paying his developers.
yeah.
Um, and he also told me that he always wanted to do something with crypto. So this was like a perfect opportunity for
Like a
him to.
match made in heaven.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, right now he's a little bit more enthusiastic about the Drunken Drown games than his own studio. But
Yeah,
he said like, I'm already have a commitment and a compromise with the. I already have a commitment with the successful Kickstarter that he did for his game.
yeah,
So he's right now also having two full-time jobs here.
yeah,
Um, but um, but yeah, so basically he started working with me, and I told him, we're gonna do this. This is gonna give us some funding for this game, and this is the idea of the game, and he loved it. Um, I told him, I think we have the potential to sell really, really fast, and that will mean that we will get enough support to start building this immediately. And he thought so as well, that we would eventually sell, but it was a surprise for him how fast we sold out.
yeah,
So
definitely.
he was also like freaking out in the moment when I told him, yeah, we sold out, and he was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it."
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly how long it was, but I mean, I only joined about sort of 5 weeks ago. But even then, it was only 2 weeks later, and everything was gone. It's like it was crazy,
Yeah, I think we sold out in 5 or 6 days, uh,
crazy, isn't it?
and yeah, and I think a lot of projects have had like have sold out in less than 1 hour. We had some technical issues, basically because I wanted to do it. I coded the backend there for the shop, and in the end it worked really well. But
Yeah.
there was some stuff that I could have done better, and
Like,
so.
well,
But
I say
yeah.
the actual like buying the sort of pixel tile packs where you paid 9 ADA and got the three fungible tokens. That whole thing was flawless. I was sitting in the pub with my friend about 2 weeks ago. We were going to a gig together in London, and I was talking to him about the project, saying, "Oh, I'm doing some like news bits here and there." And he was like, "Oh, I'm interested. I'm interested." So he's into the same sort of games as like myself and you, and he's into crypto. He's got quite a lot of money, but normally in Ethereum and Bitcoin. So I was like, "Get some ADA. Let's see what you can get." And we sat at the table, and he picked his phone up, and he went on the website, and he said, "Right, I'm going to buy this." I went, "Okay, do it then." He went, "Dun dun dun," bought. It was like so simple. Go to the Euro wallet, send over your money, and then instantly the packs are in your Euro wallet. There was no sending here, sending there, waiting around. The whole thing was really, really seamless. So kudos to yourself. I know that again the pixel tile sold out pretty fast, but the whole thing just worked flawlessly.
I am glad.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Um, um, what I will say is then, so talking about a little bit more into the deep side of crypto, well, not deep side, but the crypto. What made you choose Cardano? What was it about Cardano that kind of stood out to you? To you think, you know what, I'm going to use that blockchain to develop this game on? Like, why was that the choice?
So I've been following Cardano for several years now. Uh, I actually was able to purchase some ADA at 2 cents, for example.
Yeah, nice.
Uh, so I think it was like a no-brainer. It was more like the project really started when a friend of mine. I got my friend into Cardano. So actually, the guy that I created the Photonist card after him.
Okay.
Uh, so I started following Cardano for many years now. Basically because I really love functional programming and blockchain, because especially in my teenage years I was a bit of uh, you know very a very idealistic person, and a very critic of how society and a lot of the systems, government and education, really works.
Yeah.
So blockchain immediately for me, it was like a no-brainer. I thought that it will be something that since the beginning I thought that blockchain will change the world. and every single step in the way I've thought so, and I still do. I still
Yeah.
think that all of our systems will fundamentally change because of blockchain. And if we start that conversation, I won't stop for several hours of why and how the technology is extremely well done.
Yeah.
At least for Bitcoin and for Cardano, right, with the UTXO model. But so I've been following Cardano for a really long time,
Yeah.
and I got my friend into it, and my friend told me, "Hey, you have the tech skills. Why don't you create a stake pool, right?" I was
Yeah.
like, I was not very convinced about it. I was like, yeah, okay, I could do it. And then I thought like, no one is gonna delegate to my stake pool, because I'm late to the game. Like
Yeah.
there was already like a lot of well-established stake pools, and so I thought like there has to be some extra incentive to stake with my pool. So in that moment, I merged the concept of a game that I was developing alone
Yeah.
uh, before in December, uh, uh, and created the concept of the pixel tiles. So I was like, okay, the extra incentive will be the pixel tiles,
Yeah.
and then it evolved from there. But basically, let's say that Cardano was a decision a long time ago.
Oh, okay. That's cool. So you
But
kind of had it right from the start.
yeah, but to be honest, there's like a lot of really good arguments to choose Cardano for a blockchain project, right? It's
Yeah.
just the community, the quality of the technology, everything that Cardano is doing, and especially the things that Cardano is doing, which other blockchains are simply not doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, namely, I will say two things which are super important that other blockchains are simply not doing, which is first. Uh, Doing research first and taking seriously the hardcore and difficult mathematics behind blockchain. Blockchain is not something easy. It's some of the most complex things that humanity has done.
Yeah. I don't
Uh,
understand one little bit of it. So.
it's yeah, blockchain is a result of merging a lot of different fields. So with that, I think I can already make an argument. But there's that, and the second one is Cardano is thinking about governance, which is also something that other blockchains are not really thinking about. Cardano with Project Catalyst and their plans with Voltaire, it's it's something essential for the growth and the true decentralization of the network. So these two things for me are like no-brainers for
Yeah.
um, thinking long term.
Have you actually just as again another personal question? Have you played any other games on any network? Have you tried, for example, Axie Infinity on the Ethereum network, or have you purely just played Cardano games?
To be honest, no. To be honest, I haven't played. The experience that I've had, it's two. One with one game called Room Blades or something like that in Ethereum, and I was recommended it, and I wanted to start, try it out and start playing it. So I went to their web page, and one of the first things when you say like, uh, how do I play this, and in the web page, it takes you to some documentation page, which some of the first things they say, like they say, to play this, you need to understand X, Y, and Z about blockchain, right? And about Ethereum. And I
Yeah.
was like, this experience sucks. Like it really,
Yeah.
really, really sucks. How do you ask a player to understand like low level specifications about the
Yeah.
technology? It's like trying to play Age of Empires, and the first thing that you stumble with is to try to understand, things about the programming language or about how the CPU connects with the memory of your
Yeah.
computer, etc.
It's
It's like,
irrelevant, right?
yeah, it's irrelevant. So you're here to play the game, right?
Yeah.
So, which takes me to the second experience that I had, which was with Axie Infinity, which is that everyone that I hear talking about Axie Infinity, it's always around making money.
Yeah.
And it's like, is it a game or a casino or a job? Like,
Yeah.
there was some friends talking about it, and they were talking about, like renting and making an investment, and putting $400, but later profiting from 800. And it was like, it's an investment. Like, how is it an investment if you need to like literally play for someone else?
Yeah.
This is called a job. This is not an investment. This is a job.
Yeah.
You're putting time and effort in with the expectation of revenue, right? So this is
Yeah.
literally a job.
Literally a job. Yeah.
So this is for me. Is like, this is not a game. Sorry, I don't know what this is, but this is not a crypto game. This is just a crypto something.
Yeah.
Um, so uh, these games, it's clear that they don't have game in front of it. There's no
Yeah.
fun in front of it. So I mean, I think this is what I want to create with Drunken Herald games. So like, then again, we're a game studio first and a crypto project second. We
Yeah.
want to create something cool, something fun. And the reason why we are integrating with crypto technology and NFTs and Cardano, it's because we think that those add up to the fun and to the epicness of the game, and it's simply way much more cooler and epic.
Yeah.
Being able to tokenize your achievements, and it's not just it's you own what you achieve and what you do in the game. So I think that's
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah. I think that really comes across in the way you conduct yourself. Like you can tell that you guys put the game first before before you think about crypto, you think about money. Like it's all about the fantasy, the lore, the getting involved in the game and enjoying the game first, and then whatever else comes afterwards, that's what comes afterwards, right? That's the reward, is what comes afterwards. But the game is well before everything else. Speaking of that, um Hammerbyte, the company that you're kind of using to help with the game, um, what sort of role do they have doing the back end? Like, what is their role in creating Drunken Dragon Inns and quests?
Well, um, Hammerbyte has been a really awesome partner for finding and talent to start the development, right?
Yeah,
So, continuing the story of Ferraz and I, when Ferraz and I we finished the sale and we had a couple 100,000 ADA on our wallets, then the next thing was like, all right, we did this. The step is on. The strategy has been fulfilled. What's next, right?
yeah,
So what's next is to ramp up the development, and that's done through creating an actual company, right? Um, so before creating the car, you need to create the factory, right? You need to
yeah.
create
Cool.
the teams, the machines, everything, right? So when I started recruiting for the development, then again through my networks, I stumbled with Hammerbyte, which is this Mexican um, game development as a service company.
Yeah,
And then again, we got in contact, we chatted, and Manuel, which is the CEO of the company and the founder of the company, he's also really awesome. He's young and he's very passionate about game development. He's also into crypto. So he immediately thought that the the project and the concept was like really cool. Um, he explained me how they work. I think they're also really cool because they're not like a traditional consultancy company.
Yeah.
They're also innovating in the way in which they give the service, and they already have like several years of experience under their sleeve. So for me, it was after speaking and chatting, it was no brainer, especially on how they deliver their services.
Yeah.
So we started by hiring two members of them, and also it was really nice that they accepted receiving payments in crypto, which was also like awesome.
Makes it a lot easier, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm still figuring out everything here in the Netherlands. Is discussing with the accountants and with the belasting
Yeah.
this and etc. But so with them it was like really great. So basically, with through them, we acquired. Uh, right now we have three three developer artists, and our developer comes from them. It's also really great because they have a lot of experience with game development, and they have more people behind. So the people we hire through them, they can consult like a wider array
Yeah.
of talent behind them, and the network behind them. So that's awesome. But we're also recruiting on a permanent basis directly with us. And from there, we also acquired a couple of other talents, including the talent that came from the community itself. Talking
Yeah.
about Substar and Enkian.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I think like that's another thing that's kind of come out of this awesome community is that there is a pool of people here that not only follow the game for what it is, but are willing to and have the skills to put something back into it as well. So it's nice to be able to find those people. Literally on tap is like 4,000 people or so now in the Discord, and there's people that have got talent in there, so it's quite easy to pick out some of those, like you say you have done with Safs and Enkian. Um,
And
going
let me
on,
let me just add to that. It's not just about having like an easy tap to talent, but it's also about having talent that is passionate about what we're building already, right?
yeah,
So then again, I told you I have this commitment for quality, uh, but quality. So to ensure quality, you need people to work uh, based on more than money, right?
of course,
You
yeah.
need them to work with intrinsic motivation.
Yeah. Work with
So
their heart, work with their mind. That's what you need, right?
yeah, exactly. It needs to be an act of love,
Yeah,
literally, right? The development of Drunken Dragon Instant Quest must be an act of love. Uh, so so s- so for me, it was really really cool and fortunate that we got Savstar and Enkian into
yeah,
the team, and I really hope that we keep finding people like this through the community, right?
yeah. I think as I think as it grows, there will be more people that come in. There might be some real more talented people coming up. Who knows, right?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
looking again more at the game. So of course, I'm going to ask you a question about the roadmap because that's what everyone wants to know. When's the game coming? Is it going to be here next week? Is it here now? People are always asking that in the chat. I'm not going to kind of ask you for specifics, so don't worry. I'm not going to kind of push that. But one thing I did want to ask about the kind of alpha that or what beta or whatever you will that's coming up towards the end of this year, maybe into next year, will that be open for everyone to try out, or will it be kind of a closed thing for a certain amount of people that are able to kind of try it out?
Well, to answer the short answer, it's gonna be open for everyone to try, which has some natural limitations. Our game, namely the fact that at least for Drunken Dragon Inns, you need pixel tiles, right?
Of course, yeah,
That's the natural, and you already paid for them, so in a
yeah,
sense, you already like kind of
committed
deserve
yourself.
early access, right?
Yeah, yeah,
There's already commitment indeed. So I think it's all again a no-brainer to just develop an alpha, put a big disclaimer, hey, this is an alpha, please understand. that this is work in progress. This is not a final representation of what the product will look like and will
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like. But it's open. There you go. Uh, Now, a longer answer. I think I'm really inspired by something that Elon Musk once said, and it's not something normally very inspirable, but I think it's
yeah,
really really smart, and I would really like to try that. Is Elon Musk with Tesla? They're doing electric cars, right? But their mission and vision is really to accelerate the adoption of renewable energy in the world, right?
yeah,
Um, and for them to really achieve that, they realize that they need they have to create cars, they have to create batteries, they have to create solar panels, services. But to create that, they need to be the best at manufacturing, right?
yeah,
So you go from something from a general vision to how you achieve it to what you need, right?
yeah.
So you go like from a high level to a very concrete next step.
It's like the picture of the
So
iceberg sitting above the water. There's a little bit above the water, but then down underneath the water is just a ton more ice.
yeah, exactly. So in our case, um, what do we want to do? We want to create an epic universe and share it, right, with people, with new and old friends. Through what? Through a rewarding game. But how do we achieve this? We need to become an amazing manufacturing company, right? When
Yeah,
in this case, we need to become an amazing video game company. So for me, right now, in these weeks and in the next months and years, for me, all of my efforts will go towards creating a great company, creating a great ecosystem, creating great systems to deliver, right? And a lot of the innovation that we'll be doing is not just in blockchain or video game gameplay, but it's also on how we achieve that. So Tesla, it's doing amazing because they're innovating not just in the car itself, but on how they create the car.
yeah,
So for us as well, I want to innovate and try new things and have an innovative mind on how we create video games. I come from a lot of my experience comes from delivering software and delivering to clients. Um, and from that experience, I want to innovate in these processes, right? So first of all, what we want to do is one, be very transparent and be very united to the community. So this is something that again is not necessarily traditional from video game companies to be so merged with the community and constantly hearing them and
yeah,
constantly throwing the product constantly towards them. So I think this is also something new that we'll be trying that other companies do not trust, which is uh, I want to trust you. I want to trust you, the community, to try the product extremely early and to grow together.
yeah,
So I think that companies, especially big companies, they tend to be a little bit condescendent about their users and about their
yeah,
clients, and say, we know what you want, we will create it, and there you go. Like, have fun with this
yeah,
this like uh, notion that we have of having fun, which can be like completely detached from reality. I
yeah. Of
think this is
course,
what happened with Blizzard, right?
100%.
It's
Yeah,
I mean, you have like Ian Hasakostas making a lot of going to the convention saying we're gonna do this and that and that, and and then the community says, it comes and says like, this sucks. Like,
Yeah. Why are you doing
please
this?
don't do this. Please don't do that. Stop doing that. Please do more of this. Please do more of that.
Yeah. When all you had to
And
do was
and
just
they,
ask them first. Why didn't you just say to them, "This is what we're doing. What do you guys think?"
yeah, exactly. And like even the community, we challenge. We don't think that they play the game. Period. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so so then again, this is what I want to try different in our company. So like we will throw alphas and iterations of the game extremely early on. They won't be finished. They will be lacking a lot of things, but they will be in your hands, in our hands. We're gonna play it together. We'll see what works, what it doesn't, and continue iterating from that, from there. Right. I think
Yeah.
that the moment in which we reach version 1.0 with everything, it's a it's gonna be a very um, how do you say, like a uneventful moment,
Yeah.
because it's just gonna be one more iteration in a
Yeah.
long united
Journey.
process of growing together. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, on regards to the kind of the public thing and you being kind of very open and transparent about things. So, do you think that being this sort of public entity means it gives more validity to the project and kind of you having your public persona, dressing up in your cosplay and being kind of the character that you are? Do you find having your face and personality as part of the brand is easier for you to kind of speak to the community?
um yes, it's pseudo intended. Okay.
Yeah.
Um so generally I think yes. I mean, the short answer, yes.
Yeah.
Now it has been a little bit funny, this process, because I mean there was some intention, in the sense that what I've seen is that great products, great services, and most importantly, great fits are achieved through great leadership, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And which begs for the question, what is great leadership? So I personally think that a great leader helps people be their own best version of themselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and they also, great leaders also uh, point to the sky and say, "Hey, do you see that star?" They describe the star, and they make people move towards that star. You know,
Yeah.
it a great leader reminds people of what it's worth living for,
Yeah.
and if people agree with that, then we move together towards the same direction, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've seen that happening with things like, for example, uh, Tesla, and talking again about Elon Musk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's doing that. Um, Charles Hoskinson with Cardano and IHK, I think he's doing that.
Yeah.
Some other leaders, we can speak a lot of leaders, and a lot of these public figures.
Yeah.
But what it's important is for us to remember that it's not about the person, but it's about the idea. It's about uh, uh, again, the leader is just a tool towards what it's really important.
Yeah.
And for me, and for Drunken Drown Games, I really think that Drunken Drown Games and what we're creating is important,
Yeah.
because then again, uh, I think fantasy is something that makes life worthwhile.
Yeah.
And sharing fantasy with friends, it's worthwhile. It's worthwhile living, right?
Yeah.
So I think my role in this is, say, like, if I want this to be successful, I need to step forward and show people, hey, this is fantasy. This is fucking cool. you know
Yeah.
let's create something together, right?
Yeah.
And So this is why I wanted to do this, right? The
Yeah,
reason why I dress up is exactly because of that. It's exactly to say, like, uh, it's awesome to be this nerd guy that likes technology and that likes video
yeah,
games and technology.
yeah,
It's one of the best experiences that someone can have,
yeah.
and come and share it with me, right?
Yeah,
So
I think when you talk about the sort of, I mean, you can feel the passion coming from you. You can feel the charisma and the thing, and that's the thing about it as well. The sort of that passion that you have spills onto us and spills onto everyone in the community, and then we get passionate about it. And I think that's the one thing that is kind of great about fantasy games is it is literally a step away from reality. You can forget about all the troubles that are going on in life. You can forget about anything you got going on. You can put yourself and immerse it in another world with people that you like spending time with, and then you've
yeah.
got hours or minutes or however long you've got of detachment. And that's what I think is kind of great about the fantasy genre, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's this attachment is it's good, but I think it's independently of how good or bad your
Yeah,
personal
cool.
life is, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I think it's important to acknowledge that this is great. This is not a patch for your personal life,
Of course, yeah.
because I think that if you're going through something rough, you need to face it.
Need to confront it, of
Uh,
course, yeah.
but I mean, me personally, I personally think that my personal life is it's really great. It's really awesome, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I have a family that loves me. I have a great partner. I have great friends. I have a great project to work for.
yeah, yeah,
Money does. I have money to survive. Uh, but but still, I think that if fantasy, and it's because my life is so great that I choose
yeah,
fantasy, right? Is
yeah, yeah,
in the end of the game, in the end of the day, um, even I mean, then again, even if you have like $10 million tomorrow, what are you gonna do, right?
yeah.
It's
I'm
money
still
is
going to be
so.
playing World of Warcraft. It doesn't matter. I'll still be playing it if if I got $10 million, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the end of the day, for me, the best moments is to share a beer and a game with a mate, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so we've got two more questions before we get to the community questions, and I will warn you, there's a couple that have been added in since I spoke to you last, so there's going to be a few
right.
surprises for you in there for a bit of fun. Um, so this community, which is kind of like the overbearing thing about this project, um, the community's really everyone has adopted the passion for this project and this game. From yourself, what is the thing that has kind of stood out most from the community since you've kind of made this project?
Well, I I think several things, right? Just
Yeah,
the level of engagement and participation. I think it's been great. I think just the fact that the space is created and that people are starting to enjoy themselves between them. It's already something to be celebrated, right?
yeah,
Because
definitely.
this is exactly what I wanted to create. This is the reason why I always tell people, remember to be kind with each other, remember to be empathic, remember to share, remember to that we all love fantasy, right? So just the fact that I can go offline for days
Yeah,
and the chat will just non-stop
carry on.
continue, and things like the Maiden Gang appears, and
Yeah,
things like seeing all the fan art that comes, seeing the friendly competition between Beam and King of Valhalla.
yeah, yeah,
So these kind of things are already for me like things that I only hoped for, and I didn't
yeah,
thought that it would start happening so fast. But I'm extremely happy to see that.
yeah,
I I just hope that this doesn't die, and that because development takes a lot of time and it's a long process. And
Yeah, cool.
I know that attention in nowadays it's easily lost.
Yeah, the young people nowadays, they want things now. They can't wait. But I think there's an older audience in our community at the moment, from what I can see.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean, it's how much fun I've had. Just the few moments that I've been able to like spend some several hours like in the community, just laughing, etc. For me, it's just a highlight.
Oh, awesome. So yeah, last question before our community ones, and that is kind of a lot more in the future, going beyond Drunken Dragon games. Let's say 2-3 years down the line, when the game potentially could be flourishing and doing its things. How do you see the project kind of expanding in the future? Obviously, I'm well aware we've got a very long way to go, but could you see yourself making other games in the future, or is the Drunken Dragon series going to be your key thing, and that's going to be offshoots of that maybe, or do you see another genre of game coming in?
Well, that's a really good question, right? Because I think it's something that I haven't been able to completely explain or compel.
Yeah,
Is the size of the game that I want us to create. Um, so my strategy has a lot of steps, and we're gonna start really, really small, right? With Drunken Dragon Inns just being like a collector's game, etc. And then comes Drunken Dragon Sins and Quests, in which you can do more things. But I think in the next months, through the developer updates and the presentations that we'll do, I think I will be able to further explain the true size of this game that I want us to create.
yeah,
Uh, if everything goes well, I think it will really require several years of development for us to achieve like the true size.
yeah,
And then again, since it's gonna be very iterative and there's always gonna be a game to deploy, uh, uh, you're gonna be playing it, so it's just gonna feel like that it's growing and growing, right?
yeah,
Um, so for me, at least if we make the typical question of where do you picture it in 5 years, uh, in 5 years I would like people to really compare us with Blizzard Entertainment, right?
yeah,
For being a place, uh, one, uh, to be an ideal place for game developers to want to work in, right? They say like Blizzard used to be that. Blizzard used to be like, if you love, if you want to be a game developer, the
yeah,
best job you will get will be in Blizzard Entertainment, right? But
yeah,
it was because of the worlds they were creating. It was because of the opportunities they were creating. It was because of the level of creativity that you were able to have there, and the basic values that they had, which revolved
yeah,
about people. So, Drunken Dragon Games, I wanted to become that place. Then again, Drunken Dragon Instant Quest, I think it's something that I want a lot of people to play, and I think it's gonna take uh, more than 2 years, and probably more than 5 years to like really completely fully develop.
yeah, cool.
Uh, and I think it's gonna be the complete focus of Drunken Dragon games. Well, something great about the game is that I think it has a great business model, which is super important for growth. So it is a business model that both allows us to grow and also can protect. It doesn't invade the fun part of the game, right? Which is
Yeah,
what is really hard in video games. Like, how do you create a good business model that uh, doesn't destroy the fairness of the game, right?
yeah, yeah,
So I feel very confident about what we have at hand and the potential of growth. Then in the next 10 years, uh, I think eventually would like to do something even more, something even bigger.
Yeah,
But I think we'll have to see.
have
I
to see
think
where that goes.
like us to first focus on this one, which I think is already quite um
A
how do
big
you
challenge,
say?
maybe.
Yeah, and when you want like a lot, you say you're very
It'll come to you.
ambitious. Ambitious.
Ambitious. Okay, yeah, because
I think it's already an ambitious game. Yeah.
in my head, the way that I foresee it as a fan of the game and someone in the community is, like Skyrim, how that the size of that world, the magnitude of that world, and the fact that you got so many things to do, but then also the fact that there are expansions for it. So like Drunken Dragon Inns and Quests could have expansion packs in the future. 3 years down the line, unlock a whole new continent, and then you could take your Grandmaster Adventurers over there, and it could be like constantly evolving. It hasn't got to be a stagnant still thing that just you play. There can always be development kind of in the back end to make new content for people, right?
No, definitely. Actually, the first year for Drunken Dragon Season Quest, once we actually release the first map, it's gonna be located on a very specific region of the map.
Okay.
With the So let's say that if you've seen the map with the two continents,
Yeah.
with the Val Nord and Val Sur, on the known world of Valia. Uh, Maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself and the spoilers for the next dev
You keep
update.
you keep going, man. You keep going.
But there is this region with a little bit more traditional Western European fantasy, which consists of four big human kingdoms,
Yeah.
with some lore that we've been working on, which I'm liking a lot, to be honest.
Nice, nice.
And this whole first year and probably series 2 and 3, they're gonna be inspired around this traditional um, Western Europe fantasy. But then again, all of the other regions and areas, um, they have a lot of lore that eventually I would love us to explore. So
Yeah.
I mean, we're already creating like a big pie that we can start eating by one
Oh
bite at a
man.
time.
I think everyone's absolutely salivating for that pie. We all want it as soon as possible, but people have got to be patient. So we'll get there. But maybe in a couple of months we'll do another one of these, and you can tell me a bit more about it.
All right.
So that is the end of part 1 of my interview with Vledic. If you want to come check out part 2, which is our community questions, then make sure you check out the link in the description below.